I'm just going to assume that. Okay, this is recording, so at least maybe people that can't jump on me, they can get this one. Okay, Andrea is coming, so let me give her a second to hop on, then we'll get started, okay? It's not that long, I promise. There's just, I think, a few things that I didn't explain well when I went over the calendar system with everybody. Like the system part, I feel like hopefully everybody's kind of gotten in, maybe this first month has kind of gotten used to like when to check things and that type of thing, and like the commitment related to it and being involved in the parties and accountability and all that. Hopefully I'll get you guys any feedback on that. But I did leave out an accountability part with like your leader above you. And obviously I wanted to start with you guys because I'm going to implement it with you guys, and then you guys are going to do it. It's like if you have leaders underneath you, you're going to do it with your leaders underneath you. And I know not everybody, like I know, Amanda, you don't have anyone yet underneath you, but obviously hopefully soon you will. I'm going to go ahead and give it across the board, like the new, like, I don't know what the word is, new, not expectation, my new vision for us as leadership team, like from here on out, as far as like the Zoom calls that you're going to talk about, and then also this calendar system and that type thing.
This calendar thing stresses me out.
Is it really? You just haven't found a system to make it work for you, or?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just the person I'm doing it with.
Is it just Amanda?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she's like the only one that I'm doing it with, so I don't know. Like I feel she's so scatterbrained. I feel like.
Yeah, and I feel like just like anything else, we're gonna do it a few months before we feel comfortable. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not really something that like. Because I feel like even the next step I'm going to tell you guys, it's going to take me time to get used to like finding a system to work. And that's what Christy Vess was even saying, that she can't even tell you a specific system that she uses because every month she tries something different and she still hasn't found one that she loves. So I think it's just an evolving thing to figure out like how to manage it, like on your side as far as like a system. Because obviously I'm a paper girl, but not everybody is. So, you know, they might prefer all that computer-y type stuff. But Amanda, have you had anybody to use the calendar with yet this month? I know you have girls that are doing it. Was anybody committed with the calendar?
So
hey, Jennifer.
Rachel Davis said she was committed. She was kind of getting out of like 0 party, so she did a post this beginning of the month. I mean, it was kind of average. I mean, she had good attendance. She got like 4 or 5 bookings from it, but them wanted to book in March. Like she tried to get them to book in February, and they're like, no, February, no. She tried all that. So she's had 2 parties this week, and I've been in them. And I mean, she knows, like, I mean, she's good. Like she does like the secret message games, but the attendance was like 8 people in one and 13 in the other. So that was, you know, so she's like $50 away from her personal sales, but I don't think she's going to hit the group sales for February. Yeah. But she does have parties. I mean, she's working on a calendar. Like she sends me her pictures, and she has 3 the very first week of March.
Okay.
And one of her meet her. I talked to her on the phone this weekend, and she wants information on being a team leader.
Awesome.
So I told her, you and Christina underneath you both want to promote at the same time. That's not only do you have someone to cheer you on, but if you do promote, and she goes with you, like that's, you know, that's half of even being like a senior team leader.
Yeah.
Or you already have a first line.
Yeah. It makes it easier to reach that goal too, and somebody else is working underneath you because they're going to get all the sales themselves. You know what I'm saying? For her, if they're working too. Well, that's good. There's something I was going to ask you. Oh, so with the commitment calendar, do you feel like it's helped you guys like hold them accountable to the 12 parties? You know, because like even now we should already be working on our girls that we know are going to be working on month 1 next month, and already giving them that calendar and getting them to go ahead and write out their commitment party dates, and get them to go ahead and try to book up as much as they can before March starts. Obviously, they don't have to have them all booked, but try to encourage them to get as many booked as they can. That way they're setting themselves up strong. But do you feel like that's helped you guys with holding them accountable to those dates? You know what I'm saying? Like if you check, because I think the big thing for me this month is like I had this calendar, and like if I know a girl the next week was supposed to have a party booked and she only had one of those 2 parties that she had told me she was going to book scheduled, I would reach out and say, you know, hey, did you get the other party booked yet? And then if not, like giving her the resources and tools to do that. Has that been helpful for you guys?
like you can give them all the tools, but then it's hard because I know my girl's motivated, but I feel like I don't know like wording or like my follow up after she knows the tools. She started off with the mystery hostess. I think she's trying to message people, but I don't like encourage her like in a type of way. I've asked her I talk to her daily, but I don't know. It's like I don't know how to like help her be accountable and push her without being overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be different for everybody too. And I feel like you guys know best about your girls and how to do that. I think the big thing of the calendar system is that when they're committed at the beginning of the month, that they're going to do whatever it takes to get to both parties before the end of the month. Or do y'all mind? Sorry, I'm hearing like a feedback. Do y'all mind like muting your microphones until y'all like say something if you don't mind? I'm sorry. Like coming back. Sorry. But I think the big thing with the calendar, like I've seen on my side at least, is being able to, like, if they're committed to the 12 parties, then they're saying they're willing to do whatever it takes to get them. And also I know those situations like where they've done everything and it's just, the situation that you're in, but just making sure that they are committed to doing whatever it takes to make that happen, and digging deep to do that, which I'm sure they are, but just that's the whole point of the calendar system for sure. Okay. So before I get too much off the tangent, I'm going to talk about the portion of the promotion calendar I didn't really discuss well. I think maybe it's going to help as well. And this is kind of the half of the portion. So I'll say the first half of the purpose of the calendar system is that way you can help hold your girls accountable and having a commitment of them making it happen to get to team leader by having, hey, I'm going to have 12 parties and I'm going to make it happen no matter what it takes, and that you're holding them accountable to that and they're giving you that commitment to make it happen, and then you being aware of what's going on so you can be in those parties and you can constantly be updating them like, hey, is that party created? Do they have their 25 yeses yet? Be sure to add me. That way that you're not waiting for them to tell you that that's okay if they do tell you, but that way if they haven't told you, that you're on top of like helping them stay on top of it, if that makes sense. And that's the whole kind of purpose of this calendar system, is to help hold them accountable and you reminding them and making sure that they're on track with those things, so it's not falling through the cracks. Okay, the portion I didn't explain, which hopefully that part I explained to you all well, and if not, you can feel free when I get through to tell me like what questions you have about the actual system itself, and I'd be happy to help with any of that. So that's going to continue throughout the rest of the year, like us just constantly using these calendar systems. And I think after a few months, it's going to become second nature, because it's just like everything else in the business. The more that we do, we don't have to think about what date's supposed to be on what, and et cetera. It's just going to become a habit of what we do. Portion I didn't explain well is, as you have people that are under you promoting to team leader, you are going to get that calendar to the person that's above you. So that's why all of you guys are in this message with me, because you're all my first line. So for example, Amanda with your girl, and then obviously all you other girls that have girls underneath you that are working to promote, you will say, hey, Tiffany, I have so-and-so that's working to promote. And then you will start a group message with me, you, and that girl that's working to promote. It's like a three-way message, kind of what we do with our new recruit. So a three-way message with me, you, and that girl. The purpose of that message is not for me to coach, not directly. The purpose of that message is for me to help coach you, coach them. Because Christy Bessick made a great point, is that we have all kinds of like training and coaching that we do, like with new recruits and like all these different areas, but we don't do a very good job of coaching and training our leaders. And this is the best way to do it, which makes sense. That way you can see, like, I can see what's happening. I can help coach you through it. And if there's something I feel like, oh, she should probably say this to her girl, I'm not going to like say it in that message, because I'm not going to, I feel like I've done this a lot. I'm not going to overstep your leadership. I'm going to, in a private message with you, go behind, and I'm going to coach you on like, hey, maybe you should say this to so-and-so, or maybe you should encourage so-and-so to do this. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like allowing me to help better coach you guys on promoting out girls. And not that I'm saying that you're not doing a good job. That's not what I mean. But just another accountability and just another way for me to help coach you guys, to see if there's anything I can better help you guys to do in that scenario. Or if I'm in that scenario and watching your coaching, then you can even ask me, hey, Tiffany, is there anything else I need to say, or whatever, if that makes sense at all. So once again, that three-way message, I will not like be verbally coaching in that and stepping in. If I see something that needs to be said, or I think that would be a great tip or advice for you guys, I'm going to go in a private message with you guys for you guys to then share in that group message. I will encourage, like, great job, way to go. It might be like awkward, like Big Brother watching without saying anything, but like, encouraging them and cheering them on. But it's more of a behind the scenes coaching to help you guys, if that makes sense. Does that make sense at all? The purpose of that? So that being said, so I'm going to do that with all of my first line. So I have 10 of you guys. So for all of you guys, I will have group messages with each of you. So if you have 3 girls that are working to promote, I'm going to be in a group message with you and each of those 3 girls individually. So not one giant one, but like a 3-way with each of your girls that are working to promote. And then from there, the goal is, so you guys that do have leaders underneath you, like I know Holland and Andrea, both of you guys have leaders that are underneath you directly. So what then will happen is the girls underneath you are going to have group messages with you. So for example, we get some confused in my head if I don't say it with names. So for example, Andrea, you have Alex Benson underneath you. So if Alex has girls that's working to promote to team leader, which she does, you're going to be in group messages with Alex and all of her girls. That doesn't mean that you're going to be doing all the direct coaching or anything like that. It's going to seem very overwhelming in your head, especially if you have a girl with lots of people to promote. But you're just in there to catch and see if there's anything that you can help coach on or encourage on, or something that's maybe like getting missed or whatever it is. And then it might freak you out. You're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do that. So this is the purpose of why I'm doing it with you guys, is that basically since we're all in the same calendar system and we're all following the exact same things, we, like when I'm coaching you on something, basically you're gonna take that exact same message to coach your girl underneath you. Does that make sense? It's like a trickle down effect where you don't have to be like, well, I don't know what to tell them. So for example, when we know we have girls that have parties next week, I'm going to be asking you guys, hey, just so-and-so, because I'm going to have your calendar for your girl that's promoting. So I'm going to say, hey, so-and-so has a party next week. Is it created? Are you in it? How's the RSVP count looking? Like that type of stuff. And then you're going to do that same thing with your girl that's underneath you and ask those same questions. Does that make sense? And there's more to it than just that. That's just a general idea of what I'm talking about when I say that I'm going to be checking in with you and seeing where you're at with your promotion bound girl. And then immediately when I do that with you, you can just copy and paste what I do, or probably I'm going to do a voice message with you. So you probably have to type it out or redo your own voice message and then send it to your girl underneath you to make sure that you're knowing what's going on with their promotion bound girl too. Does that make sense at all? Or am I confusing the heck out of you guys? You're going to feel free to unmute and tell me any feedback that you have as well. But definitely, that's kind of teach you guys, one, help you guys as you're working to promote out your girls in your center group, kind of help you with that and coach you and even encourage you, just encourage you that, hey, you're doing a great job. There's really nothing else that you can do. You're doing awesome. Or, hey, maybe you should try this or whatever. And then also that's the first part of it. But then the second part of it is it's then going to teach you guys how to train your leaders to do the same thing. Does that make sense? So I feel like I've done a poor job of, not that I don't think I should be involved, but like micromanaging and then not allowing you guys to know how to do that well. I've just kind of stepped in and done it versus teaching you guys how to do it, if that makes sense. And that's doing you guys a disservice because then it kind of breaks relationship between leadership levels. And then also it just doesn't allow you to be empowered and confident as a leader, leading your leaders, if that makes sense at all. So that's kind of my goal and vision with this, is to better help promote out leaders across the board and better help you guys do that with your leaders underneath you as well. Do you have any questions about that? Does that make sense? That's kind of the big portion that I kind of forgot to explain because I wasn't in anybody's group messages because I didn't explain that very well. I didn't want to jump in that in the middle of the month. I thought, hey, we'll just go through the system for this 1 month, just using the calendar. Then in March, we'll try to start using the leader group messages with the promotion bound girls. You want to unmute and give me any feedback? Anybody?
I feel like that makes me feel a lot better.
Okay, good.
Because I feel like I almost kind of don't know how to, I mean, it's like I was motivated, but I kind of feel like I'm kind of, okay, what next? Like, I feel like I've given her the tools. I'm like, okay, what do I do now? Because hasn't got her. Like, is it, like, I think part of it's maybe not knowing how hard she really does have to dig. So that's where I'm like, I don't know what's next. So I think if she knows that, like, our, almost director is like in a message with her and encouraging her, that'll kind of light that fire, not like, oh my gosh, like she's watching, but just to know that you're there too, and you're excited to see all these girls. So yeah, that's going to be a big help.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I was kind of nervous that people were going to be like, holy crap, you're asking me to do what? And it does sound like overwhelming, but like I said, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a trickle down effect. You know what I'm saying? Like you're basically going to be copying what I'm doing with you it's going to take effort on your part to make sure that you're doing that with your girls underneath you that you have promoting out. And that'll be like for you, Holland, and you, Andrew, because the other two, you don't have leaders yet, but just for future, know that when you promote out leaders, that's going to be kind of I say expectation. I hate using that word, but I guess it's kind of is what it is, like the expectation, because, you want them to get the same thing that I'm giving you guys and using trickle down. Like I said, the more we do, it's going to be a lot more natural and not as like overwhelming feeling. And it's going to be really big income producing, which is what you'll be spending your time on anyways. So anybody else have any feedback or even questions about like what I mean with that? You'll get the concept of like, all of you directly are going to have group messages with me and each of your promotion going girls. And then the same thing, like you're going to, like Andrea and Holland, you will then make sure that your girls that are underneath you, not all, for Megan Holland, you have second and third lines. You're not going to do it for you're only going to do it for your first lines that are underneath you. And then your first lines are underneath you, you're going to do it for their girls underneath them. It really only applies to you, Holland, but you're going to do it just for your first lines. So I'm going to say, so that being said, the calendar system is going to be important because like we should be looking this week, or I guess it's next week. We should already be identifying who those girls are for promotion bound. So you should be helping your leaders underneath you be identifying that as well. So you guys should already be having an eye on who you think should be promotion bound. Even if they don't have $1,000 in sales, some girls just joined, but you can just tell that they're like, like you see those attributes in people that that, hey, she should be working for promotion bound. And they don't know that for themselves until you tell them. So just make sure you're planning that early in them, immediately after their launch party, like talking about that. And there's so many perks you can relate to that too. Also, you want to talk about express success. Well, I would even plant the seed of convention. You might sound crazy to tell somebody that just joined to go to convention, but that's Heather Pulley's story. I think it's very powerful no matter when you joined. If you can make it happen, to make it happen. And then obviously if they want to go to convention, then obviously talk about leader day. Hey, if you promote on May 1st, you can have leader day. And then also have that fun new headshot breakfast thing that we're doing too. That's another thing. So it's kind of like give them those reasons, like to get them even more motivated to do it by a certain time type thing. But anyways, that being said, make sure that you're already identifying these girls that you feel like are going to be promotion bound, and these are not confident in themselves, believe in themselves before they can believe in them before they can believe in themselves. And then go ahead and start giving them these commitment calendars. That way they're not rushing this last week trying to get them done. Because the goal is to have these commitment calendars to you. I think it's on our calendar when it tells us. Having it due like basically the first or second day of March is kind of the goal. So you want to go ahead and be giving them to them this week and next week to give them time to highlight the 12 party dates. Once again, doesn't mean that they have to have them booked, but when they highlight those days, like you should have that commitment conversation with them already, that like you were committed. When you do this, you're committed to getting these 12 parties booked no matter what it takes. I'm going to hold you accountable and give you tips and tools to make sure you have those 12 party book state. And I'm going to check in and say, hey, have you gotten that party booked yet? And that type thing. So just be working on that for the next 2 weeks. And then once again, trickling this down with your leaders underneath you, like giving them this information to make sure they're aware. I will be making probably a post or live in our leaders group since it's very fresh and new, just reminding everybody that, but just try to trickle that down as well. Okay, so is everybody good on that portion? That's a portion that I kind of forgot. I think it's really going to be huge for hopefully helping you guys and helping your leaders underneath you. Everybody good with all that? Holland and Andrea, that makes sense for you guys with your girls underneath you, their leaders, what you are doing? And just know you're not going to be like, I don't know what to do. You're literally just going to take what I'm telling you and just transfer it to your person underneath you, okay? Not that you have to do it exactly like I say it, but it'll give you an idea of like what coaching tool you should be doing for them at that moment in time. That doesn't mean you have to be in their parties. Like I'm not going to be in all your girls' parties. Like I'm just going to know when your girls' parties are so that I'm checking in with you that you know what's going on, if that makes sense. I'm not going to be in like all of your girls' parties. I can't be doing that. Okay. So that's the first thing, was that portion of it. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about was, I don't know what they're called, like Zoom calls or whatever, like personal conference calls. That's what they're called, personal conference calls. So most of you guys, I did a personal conference call with in January. In January, I did them for all of my leadership teams, so not just for first levels, but for everybody, and they were really powerful. And I think I told you guys in our leader group live that I did that I was terrified to do them, and I told you that way that you guys would know if you're terrified to do them, it's okay. I terrified to do them because I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing. Not that I always have it together. Clearly I don't. Like, I don't want to get on there and like, I'm trying to help you and then me not be able to help you. But they were fantastic. They were fantastic, I think, to really know where your girls are. And it really forces you to know where your girls are. And I'll tell you why in just a second. So if you're one that you feel like, I don't know what's going on, like with my girls on my team or my leaders on my team, this is really going to force you to know. And I'm going to tell you why. It's going to be a quick, easy way for every month for you to know. So that's not something that you're naturally doing. It's going to be something that will become a natural thing for you to do. And then what's the other thing I was going to tell you with that? And also just build relationships. If you feel like some girls, you know, there's just this, it is what it is. Some people you're a lot closer to than you are others, and that's okay. It's just how it is. But it helps you build that relationship with that person, and they feel value that you're taking time to do a Zoom call with them. And it's just been really good. So, you know, I think you'll get to know your people really well doing that as well. So with them, though, you're probably thinking, like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to do? So I'm going to give you an outline. That's what I thought, too. This was shared. I'm in a mastermind group, and Carly King and Megan Blasek are underneath Gina Shear. And they've done Zoom calls, like, their whole entire team has been doing them for forever. That's kind of where I got all these tips and these like outlines and stuff that they gave me. And those of you guys that did them with me will notice the outline I'm about to show you is exactly what I did with you. So the goal is every month I will do personal conference calls with all of my first line. So that's all of you guys. Every month I will do personal conference calls. I won't say they're mandatory because, you know, I'm not going to force you to meet with me if you don't want to meet with me, but they're highly encouraged. Obviously, once again, I'm not going to force you to do it. And honestly, I say I'm not going to hunt you down, but I'm not going to I'm going to try really hard to not be like, hey, do you sure you want to do a conference call? Or just I don't want to be, sometimes I feel like I'm scared that you're missing something. So then I feel like I need to keep reminding you, but I don't want to feel like I'm hounding you guys. I'm going to try really hard not to do that. Maybe the first month I'll try to remind you guys, but the goal is the end of every month to do these personal conference calls with all of my first lines. And then the goal expectation would be that all of you guys that have leaders underneath you are going to do it for your first line. So Andrea, you'll do it for your first line people, and Megan, you'll do it for your first line people. And then your first line people are going to do it for their first line people, and then so on, so on, so on. Does that make sense? So all of your first lines are going to do it with their first lines, if that makes sense. And then all the way down.
Hey.
Yep.
I think we talked about this. The first time that I do it, should I do it with all of my leaders like you did or should I let my first line do it with their other?
You only have one first line that has people underneath them, right? Is that right? I think
so.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can do it either way you want to. I think it's fine whichever way. If you want to do it with all of them, that's great. And then you can let What's Her Name start doing it.
Okay.
In what month is that? April? I think it's fine.
Okay.
You can do it's fine. You and Heather can just talk about it. Y'all can figure out what y'all want to do. It's fine, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how it's going to kind of go. So the goal is at the end of it, you can do whatever schedule you want to do. You can do it, the last 2 weeks of the month, the last week of the month. My reason I want to do this thing today and now is that way you guys had time to schedule and do those. And therefore, when I get off of this call, I need to start scheduling them, doing them with all of you guys as well, and get them all done before the end of the month. They're very focused 30 minutes. I tried really hard with everybody. I set a timer on my phone, and that way it's very allotted for my purposes. So I'm not going to have my allotted time, and also to be mindful and respectful of other people's times. And that way too, that they would be more willing to come back and do another one with me versus if I went over all the time, they would never want to come. So try to be very focused on 30 minutes, set a timer on your phone. I try to do that every time to make sure that I stay focused and on task. And yeah, so that's kind of gist of that. So every month, that's the goal that you guys are going to do for your first lines. Okay, then I'm going to show you, I'll send this to you guys in that group message that I did with just our first lines before we got on here. I'll send you a copy of this. But this is what this looks like. I know it's backwards, sorry. But this is a structure of a PC, which is personal conference call. So it has allotted even time, minutes to kind of keep you on track if you need that. I didn't necessarily go that specific, but this is the general thing up top. And I'll tell you what Christy Vest talked about, which is kind of what I kind of more lean towards. But the first part was ask them about Ford, which is friends, occupation, recreation, dreams. So obviously talking a little bit about personal life stuff and not just going straight into it. So having casual talk like a normal person would. And then after that, on here it says look at goals, look at actuals, and look at prior period. And this is where you have to be prepared before you get in the conference call. So this is a very planned, methodical conference call where you know exactly what season your girl is in before you even go on the phone call, and you know exactly where they're at in their business, with their team and personal business and all these different things. So this makes you very aware of what's going on with your leaders and their teams underneath them. and allows you to help coach them. And so therefore it forces you to be in back office. If you're normally not in back office for your girls a lot and looking at their numbers, this is going to force you to do that. So Chrissy Beth showed us this method. I'll probably need to do some videos so you guys can see it. But if you go into back office and you look at your your leader or whatever, you can sort at the top. There's like a little drop down box. I don't think it says sort by, and you can choose to sort by year-to-date sales. You can sort by their join dates. You can sort by all these different things. And when you do that, you can look at that person's leader, their specific central group, and you can see a few things. So we all go through seasons. We have seasons where we're recruiting. We have seasons where we're promoting. We have seasons where we are rebuilding or whatever. So your goal is when you go on there that you see what they're doing well and what, not what they're struggling with, might not be the right word, but you can identify what season they're in so that you know where that conversation should be. You should already know where your conversation should be directed towards before you even get on there. So for example, if you look at their back office and you see they have killer personal sales, but nobody in their central group has a whole lot of sales, or nobody in their personal group has a whole lot of, hasn't sold $1,000 and that type thing, that should automatically be a red flag to you guys. Not to say it's a bad thing, but a red flag to you guys that they have a very strong personal business, but something's happening where it's not getting transferred to their team. And that could be several things, but it could be that they are maybe not focusing their attention as much on their team. Maybe it's because the training's falling through the cracks or whatever it is. So the main purpose is to notice that they have strong personal sales, but it's not getting trickled down to their team. We don't know the reasoning why, but that's all that you can visually see. By looking at their join dates, you can quickly see, are their girls getting success bound? Because if a lot of their girls aren't getting success bound, then maybe this training is not, maybe there's something falling through with their training for their hostess coaching or whatever it is. Once again, you're just identifying what season they're in. If you see that they have several girls on their central groups that have amazing sales, like $1,000 or more in sales and all these different things, or you identify that one girl has a ton of recruits or whatever, obviously you should be marking that person as a promotion bound girl and making sure that your leader is aware of that. Maybe they don't even recognize when somebody's promotion bound, and etc. Does that make sense? So there's different views, and the more you do it, the easier it's going to see. But these different views that you can sort by their sales and by their join date is going to allow you to quickly identify what season they're in. Doesn't mean it's bad, just what season they're in, and where their focus needs to be shifted. And that allows you to guide the conversation to where it needs to go in the call. And the goal is, which I was not great at this, I'm going to continue to work on this. The goal in the call is to not talk a whole lot, but to allow them to talk. And the goal is that when you're on that conversation, and when you ask these questions I'm about to tell you guys about, that they already know what season they're in. And I will say that everybody that I talked to knew exactly where they were. There was nobody that was off in left field, didn't have a clue. That what I saw wasn't directly what they were talking about. If that makes sense. So I didn't have to point it out that XYZ is going on. If that makes sense. They all basically said it themselves. When I asked them what was going well and what was challenging, they already identified that for themselves. But for whatever reason, you have that conversation, they didn't identify that, and what you're seeing is not what they're saying, then you want to make sure that you immediately guide that conversation to that direction. But I did not have that issue. But the goal is to let them talk, and you ask lots of questions to allow them to bring them to their own conclusions and even their own solutions to a problem, which is something that is definitely something I'm working on, because I'm very quick to just blurt the answer, what I think you should do and how you should do it, versus allowing you to come to your own conclusions and solutions to your problem. So really the goal is ask lots of questions. Somebody said, don't tell things that you can ask. That's really hard for me, but that's kind of the goal in these conversations, to let them talk the majority of the time and allow them, asking questions, more why questions, and prying down deeper to allow them to see the solution for themselves. Okay, so hence why it says, ask them how they are doing, and then bite the pen, which is not easy for me. So, and then empathizing, and then coach them on their one thing, and then give them an action item, which I think is really huge too. So you should already know before you get in the phone call what season they're in and what's going well and what's challenging. And that's one of the 3 things that Christy Best actually talked about mentioning, which is kind of where I'm more focused on, more so than just this more in-depth outline, was what's going well, what's challenging, and then who is promotion bound. So this is kind of what I'll key focus on with you guys more than anything. This is kind of just more broken down version of this, but this is the main focus that I did. And I already identified for myself what was going well, and I already identified for myself not challenging, what season they are in, or what maybe it'd be something we need to focus on to improve on. And then obviously promotion bound girls should always be a focus for you in helping your leaders to identify that, because not everybody identifies that. Not everybody even pays attention to that or whatever it is, and that's okay. So we're going to teach them how to do that. And then that also allows you to know, like, on their radar, and that allows you to get them talking about the calendar system and the 12 commitments and all that stuff as well. But then the goal slide, you talk about what's going well, what's challenging, identify promotion-bound girls. Your goal is to, once again, give them one thing to focus on and give them an action item. And Chrissy Best even said give them a deadline. So depending on what the action item is, say, I'm going to check in with you next week about this action item that I gave you to see if you were able to accomplish it or to see how you're doing with that. So I think that's the big thing. So mainly going well, what's going well, what's challenging, who is promotion bound, then giving them one thing to focus on and an action item with a deadline is kind of the big vision. Then it talks about the end, like build them up and encourage them, and then like remind them of their vision and their why, like why they're doing this type thing. Does that kind of make sense? I'll give you guys a copy of this. It makes it a lot easier. I promise you, the more you do it, the easier it gets. I'm really working on my question asking. I'm not very good at that. So now when I have Zoom calls with you guys, you're going to be like my awkward question asking, trying to not talk. Do you have questions about that directly? Feedback, like, hey, I'm excited about that. I'm terrified about this. I'm not sure what I'm doing with this.
Well, I'm excited about it, but I definitely feel like I have no clue what I'm going to be doing. Like I told you that I was like you said, like I'm terrified to like talk to people. Like I'm socially awkward when it comes to talking to people.
You are not. I promise you, once you get
I've known you forever, so that's why you say that. But people I don't know, I'm very awkward with.
I promise you'll be amazed that, like, I was terrified. I really was of doing these, and it was incredible. And everybody came off of them, even if it wasn't like valuable business-wise, maybe for them. Like I feel like they left like with a stronger relationship and like thinking that I really do care. You know, I feel like that's something I love to get across to you. Like I really do care. You know, about like what's going on.
I think that's what like I'm not as nervous about that. Like I'm more nervous about like the business talking, I guess. Like I'm excited to get to talk to them more and like get more involved with them and like I guess build those relationships. So I'm excited about that. I'm nervous about the business talking.
I think I did not do a good job for this, showing you guys as an example. I'm going to read this book called The Coaching Habit. I'm not going to lie, I haven't read a whole lot of leadership books. I'm just going to be honest, I just haven't. And apparently the coaching habit really teaches you like to ask questions and to pry into that. But anyways, and you can even look at that thing that I posted in the leaders group that Britton Sanders and Lana McCoy and them did. I think that was more directly for your like central group members and downline members, but you can look at this questions to kind of help guide you guys as well as y'all go into those conversations. I posted it in our leaders group. It was like basically the same idea, but coaching your central groups. But yeah, so just ask lots of questions. But the big thing is, I think it's really going to drive, it's just going to drive you guys to know what's going on. Like that's the big thing. Like you're going to be able to know what's going on with your girls and help encourage them and help them have a focused task and action item to go from there. Anybody else? Andrea, Jennifer, Amanda?
I'm going to see you on Thursday. I'm going to see you on Thursday.
Okay.
And I want you to show me.
Okay.
Because like I'm you know me, I'm a visual person, so I need to be like looking at something.
Yeah. And I will send this to you guys, this little sheet. It's saved on my computer. It'll give you like a breakdown of it. And I also will type out the 3 specific questions that Christy Best suggested, which I thought that's really what I focused on, was going well, challenging, and promotion bound. And then, like I said,
with any of my girls already?
Have I done it with your girls? I did it with, they all canceled. Alex Benson forgot about it the night they were doing it, so Jill wasn't there. And then the other 2 girls, something came up and they couldn't meet. So I never did them with your girls. So they haven't had one.
I think it's so hard to schedule. Like I almost forgot about this. So I think it's probably going to have to be like are you up? Can you do it right now?
Yeah. And I feel like you figure out what works best for you guys. Somebody said that some people like make like a sign up genius, not really sign up genius, some type of like techie type thing that put in their available dates and people signed up for them. But to be honest, that stressed me out, sitting down and trying to figure out like what dates and times I wanted to be available. That stressed me out. So I'd much rather just like you guys not be annoyed by it, but I'd much rather just one-on-one with you guys, ask you like, hey, when do you want to do one? Because it stressed me out trying to like map out.
It's just like my schedule. I never know, is my husband going to be awake? Is he going to be at work? Like I could say, yeah, I could do next Thursday. And then he's got to go in. So
Yeah.
you just never know.
Yeah. Just figure out what works for you.
Okay.
I don't think there's any right or wrong. You know, I will say, I think the big key thing is make sure you set your timer for 30 minutes because, you know, you don't want to ramble and get unfocused and stay on task. You don't want this to become something. I mean, it's okay that you chat. That's fine. But like, let them know that you're going to make it very focused conversation. Like, you don't want it to be something that just becomes a social 30 minutes. And that doesn't sound ugly, but like, that's not the purpose of the call. So like, try really hard to like stay on task and stay focused on like why you're on the phone call. It'd be a big thing. Otherwise, I feel like it's not really going to serve the purpose of like why you're doing them. But anyways, anybody else got any questions? I know Amanda and Jennifer, you aren't quite there yet, but y'all will soon hopefully be doing this with your first lines. So that's exciting. Anybody else have any questions?
I think this will help because I mean, I had a team leader here, you know, and I think I wish I would have done a better job of like just staying in communication with her. And I think even if I had this last year, I still think that she would have had to step down, just given her circumstances. But I think I think because I promoted so fast, it was kind of like a whirlwind. And then she promoted, you know, in the spring. And then I think just having you model what it looks like to train someone one of your first was model that. Because I wish I could go back and, you know, maybe try things differently, whether it be to really focusing on which of her girls that she was wanting that were promotion bound, because that would have helped them out more. Because I think when, you know, it was just overwhelming, and you know that whenever she left and I got all of her girls,
Yeah.
and it was just like all of a sudden like a central group multiplied, and it was so hard to keep up with everybody. But so I think it'll be good to help us see how you're gonna shepherd us, I guess, and then how we help the girls underneath us eventually, or the ones that already have somebody. So
yeah. Well, I'm excited that you guys are excited about it. I was a little nervous that people would be like, holy crap, I don't want to do this. So I'm glad that you guys are excited about it. I really think this is an area that I feel like is a weakness for mine. I have not done a very good job of like empowering you guys as leaders and helping lead you guys. Like, I mean, not as your specific personal business stuff, like I do okay at that, but like helping you guys lead leaders. Like I've not done a very good job of that. I've done a very bad job of like jumping into micromanaging and not empowering you guys to be able to do that. So that's my vision and goal, is that you guys are all empowered and confident in your leadership position because you are incredible leaders, or you wouldn't be here if you weren't. And just to empower you guys in that, and for you guys to empower your leaders underneath you to do the exact same thing, and then to have a strong leadership team. So anyways, if you have any questions, those are the two main things I want to talk about, was that the second portion of that promotion bound calendar system, and then the PCs, because the goal is I want you guys hopefully to do all of your PCs or your first lines before the month end. That way you're all setting yourself up for focusing for March. Like I said, part of that conversation, once you identify your promotion bound girls, is to go ahead and incorporate the promotion bound calendar talk, because obviously Megan and Andrea, your girls haven't heard yet about this, you know, putting a group message thing too. So it's going to be your, you know, I say your job, like your responsibility, when start talking about that in that PC with them about, hey, this is the next step that we didn't do last month that we're going to start doing this month, kind of thing. And I will go live, I think, since I haven't told everybody about this yet, as a big whole to explain to everybody. But if you guys would one-on-one discuss that when you have these PCs as well. Okay. Before I hop off, I got it recorded, so I hope they can figure out how to share it with everybody else. So does anybody have any questions, concerns, thoughts about this, or maybe even anything else? Everybody feeling good? You're ready to rock March?
I'll see you Thursday.
I know. And I'm so excited to see you guys at convention. Oh, like, is it June yet? And
I have
Jennifer,
to book my flight, so I haven't done that yet.
the flight. Yeah, we get on that, girl.
either.
Fly with us out of Birmingham.
I want to. I really
Yeah.
do. I don't know. I was like,
Do it.
no.
Do it now.
I know.
No, Tiffany, so I got behind this stupid bus the other day, and it's a shuttle that comes to Oxford and goes to Birmingham to the airport.
Oh my gosh!
That's what-
oh my gosh! I was near a bus, and it was a bus that goes from Atlanta Airport to Birmingham Airport. It said
Yes.
14 trips a day.
Yes.
I took that to
Stop in
ELC.
Oxford.
That's what I did when I went to ELC.
Yes, they stop in Oxford at like the gas station.
It was awesome. I did that when I went to ELC. I went from Birmingham to Atlanta. I got to work and sleep and do whatever I wanted to. I had to drive my car. It was pretty nice, and it was
Like
way-
I really thought, because I was gonna get my mom, but our flight's leaving at like 6:00 in the morning. So like I wonder what the earliest time is they come, because I could just get somebody to like take me to there, and
I don't think they'll go to Oxford or Birmingham though. They go from Oxford to Atlanta.
I need them to like stop here to go to Birmingham.
You're like, stop at the gas station.
Okay.
I was in Oxford on Saturday at Target. I wonder if it was the same bus.
I think I got behind them. It was either today or yesterday. I think it was yesterday because it wasn't raining, and I took a picture of it and sent it to my husband.
That's so funny.
I need
Okay.
to book my flight. My husband said something about you can Google like when is the best time to buy a plane ticket.
Yeah, there was people I worked with at the hospital that did that. They're like, on Tuesdays at 6:30 in the morning, and you book with this person. I was like, I ain't got time for that. I was like, I just need a flight.
I got to save a few pennies though.
Yeah, I probably should. Tiffany, I looked. I paid more this time than I paid from last year.
Did you really? Oh, it's because you're in Birmingham and Atlanta. I'm sure that's probably why.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I was telling Cody that. I was like, it's really only like $50 difference. I said, and plus if you add in the gas I'm going to have to pay here into Atlanta, plus paying to park my car for 4 or 5 days. I said, it's a lot cheaper if I just get my mom to take me to Birmingham.
Yeah. Well, I'm obviously in Birmingham, so I was like, I have a big layover in the airport, but I'm like, that's 4 hours of uninterrupted work time to decompress from Huntington is much better than driving 3 hours home, and I get home the exact same time. It's just I want to stay in the airport or I want to drive for 3 hours. So I'm like, whatever, I'll have a big layover. I don't even care.
Hey, what are you going to do on Wednesday if you're not going to the tour of the home office? Like, what are you doing?
I'm hoping that I'm a director. So there's a director's like meeting set today. So we will see.
You will be. We're going to make it happen.
We will see. That's
Gonna
the
happen. Gonna happen.
But last year we got there on Wednesday, I think. Didn't we, Megan? I feel like we did. And we just hung out.
We did,
We'll talk, hang out. Oh, didn't they have books set up, all the new releases, and we went and like saw those and did like live videos?
I thought we like did something Wednesday night.
Well, we did a team thing, which I think we'll probably do that again. We did like a team thing with just like our little book believers, went to eat at a restaurant. I forgot about that. But I think before that, though, we went to the Moore store.
Yeah.
The directors went, we got to go, right?
Yeah, it opened at like, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something like that.
Wasn't that right, Amanda? Like we went, Amanda, you went to the Moore store later, I think, because you got there late.
I didn't get into like late Wednesday. I haven't booked a flight yet, so I'm not sure. They're like by lunch, so I have all of Wednesday afternoon. We'll see.
Yeah, we used to be hanging out with people, but I know that the directors go first to the Moore store, but I think the Moore store opened sometime later that day. After they got done, we got to go in.
We went and got manicures and pedicures. We went and got pedicures.
That night, I think we did, yeah.
Well, I'll make up for
We're going to have things to do. It's fine.
I think I scheduled the home office tour at like 2, so I'd give myself like time to like chill and then like be able to like
Brady, bring your color street nails. We can do manicures.
I'm addicted.
Me too.
Don't tell my husband.
Amanda, where's yours?
Put some new ones on.
He's like, how much did you spend on nail polish?
Yeah. I'm telling you, how do you know this girl, Tiffany, that I did a party with? Because
she was a hostess for me from Book Lady World. I don't know her personally.
Yeah, because I was like, dang, us book ladies are hooking that girl up with some.
Well, she keeps telling me how thankful she is that it's really helped her business because so many of y'all booked parties for her, and and a lot of people were buying from her even outside of parties still.
Yeah.
So I think she's been very thankful for that. So yeah.
I think Brooke is her new BFF, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, friends, I'm going to let you go so this recording is not super long. But thank y'all so much for taking time to meet with me. And even after this call, if you're confused or like, I don't know what she said about this or I'm so confused, like, please message me, okay? And
Because I'm always confused about it.
I hope you
Ditto.
guys are as excited as I am about this. I'm excited about our leadership team. I think this year in general, I'm very excited about. So yeah, and hopefully all of you guys will be at ELC in January.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
All right, friends, y'all have a good night.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.